question many people ask is, how do you lose weight? How do you lose fat? So maybe a question straight back at you would be, why do you get fat in the first place? Most people would look at it superficially, and not to say they're not involved, but you're eating too much food, so there's too much calories, and or there's not enough losing calories or burning calories. So basically it's a calories based answer. You need to exercise more or you need to eat less, and that's definitely in the mix of how you would go about losing fat. But if fat being used up in the body is based on how your body actually functions, so how it works, that what you need to do is actually improve how your body works or how it functions. So a body that functions better, to continue the analogies or the stories, you're looking towards improving your health. What are different factors that impact your health, change how you function, and a symptom or a sign that your body's not functioning properly is fat gain or an inability to lose fat. So at the top of the tree there for me is stress. Now stress can come at you from many different directions, and there's always argument of, well, we're all stressed and that's always going to be in the mix, so you still need to go and hammer the exercise, you need to cut the calories, right? But stress, without worrying too much about what the stressors are, stress will cause weight gain by altering how your body, how your hormonal response to life. And that change in hormones can affect your fat storage. It can stop you losing and can cause you to gain. So stress is one thing to look at, to assess, and once you know what you're dealing with in terms of stress, then you can look to support and repair the body from the damages of stress, remove the stressors, and on we go towards a healthier person, more stress-free. Other factors to consider, and they're more and more prevalent these days, is heavy metals. Most common heavy metals, you'll be looking at mercury, cadmium, lead, specifically mercury. Mercury coming from amalgam fillings is the most common source. There's also mercury in vaccines. Next to none in the air or in your water, but mainly coming from your mercury fillings. So heavy metals are in the mix. What do heavy metals do? Well, they displace the sort of good metals. If you call heavy metals bad metals, they compete to tell your body to make enzymes or different proteins that alter how you function, and the body brings in minerals like calcium and magnesium and sodium and phosphorus and so forth from your food, and then the body uses them to make stuff like hormones and whatever. But the heavy metals compete with that. So if you have more heavy metals coming into your body and they compete or displace the good guys, your nutritional elements, the calcium and magnesium, all the minerals, then your body doesn't function properly, and certain things won't happen, of which you can track that back to certain enzymes that are made in your liver that break down fat will not be made, or not made to the same level that you need them to lose fat. So again, just exercise and cutting calories is not going to be the answer if you have too many heavy metals in your body. Could be the source, could be from mercury fillings. But your body's supposed to remove mercury or any toxin that comes in. That's what it's naturally designed to do. One of the sources that does that in the liver. So you should package up those heavy metals and pass them through the digestive system and out through your body, through your skin, whatever. But you're supposed to detoxify. But what if you're also bringing in the wrong foods? So you've got poor food choices. They could be processed foods. For one, that's obvious. So you're eating too much cake, you've got alcohol coming in too frequently. Or you're actually bringing in the wrong foods. So as a metabolic typing advisor, I would look at analysing what are the right foods for you to improve your function. So that could be more protein and more fats and less carbs. It could be more carbs and less protein and fats. Or if more carbs are the case, it could be more lettuce and tomato, less spinach and mushroom, or vice versa. There's a mix to be established there based on how you function to get the right food choices. But when you're bringing in the wrong food choices, that'll be stressing out the digestive system, the detoxification system, altering your ability to remove heavy metals. If you're bringing in the wrong foods, there's environmental toxins that can come from even something as simple as you may have a healthy chicken and rice meal that you've heated in the microwave. You can argue whether or not microwaves are natural heat. It may or may not alter the structure of your food, but you'll heat it up in a plastic tub. So there's an argument that you could increase the amount of plastics going from your plastic tub into your food and into your digestive system that at some point has to be packaged up by your liver. So that again stresses out your detoxification, or your liver, which will limit your body's ability to remove heavy metals, remove plastics, process the bad foods. And while all that's happening, that's creating stress in the body, it's creating the need for more nutrition. You decide to exercise more and cut calories, but you're not sure if you're not bringing in the nutrition, so you become nutrition deficient. So there's a kind of a circular argument made there about how what you're doing is making your body less functional and shutting down your hormonal system, your immune system, digestion and detoxification. But you actually still want to lose fat. So while that's going on, and you're stressing out your digestive system, where many of your neurotransmitters are made. Neurotransmitters are little chemicals made from proteins that keep your head happy. If your digestive system's under stress, you're not making as many neurotransmitters, you're not as happy in your head, you've got more anxiety, more worry, more depression, and the kind of term you might think, sort of wrap it up with is stinking thinking. So if you're not a happy person, and you've got people who've got sort of negative thoughts themselves, and you hang about with people who are all dead miserable, but deprive themselves from food and cutting calories, and all that unhappy thoughts, that's a further stress. So that'll alter how you process food, handle heavy metals, environmental toxins, how does your liver cope, and again that's all more stress, alters your hormones, limits your body's ability to tolerate more exercise, alters your body's ability to burn fat, and so forth. And then you can also have digestive infections, different bugs. H. pylori is a very common one, Candida is another infection. These are all symptoms or signs that your body's under stress and has got all that other stuff I was saying going on in the background. So you can then look at digestive infections, because they have come as a result of what I previously mentioned, but then in of themselves they're also causing damage and causing more stress and upsetting the hormonal balance and so forth. So they can be sucking up your reserves to change your body shape. So there's digestive infections, you've got heavy metals, you've got stress itself, there's your mental emotional side, there's stinking thinking, there's environmental toxins, there's poor food choices, there's also how you breathe. If you're what's called a chest breather and you're predominantly taking shallow breaths and you're under stress, as all those examples I've just given, you'll shallow breathe at an even greater frequency. So each single breath is not efficient because you're not taking a full breath where you might breathe from your stomach right into your chest and taking a full breath. Now a full breath would be more oxygen in would break down more food. Why do people do cardio and more exercise? It's to burn calories by breathing more heavily, bringing in more air, it brings in more oxygen to break down the food. So one easy way to break down the food and increase your calorie burning, or more accurately call your metabolism, would be learning how to breathe properly. So not breathing properly is also a part of why you may not be losing fat. That can then relate back to your exercise. Now, you could be doing lots of exercise with faulty breathing, but you could also be just not exercising, and daily movement is a natural requirement. It's what a human being does, they move every day, and that first movement is breath. So once you learn to breathe, and then you start to focus on your breath on a daily basis, you're naturally moving, then you start to have a bit more energy by taking in more air, you've got energy to do more exercise, and as you start to do more exercise, maybe it starts to become more daily. That exercise that's more daily can then start to help you cope with different stress, because when you create a stress response to whether it's bad food, heavy metals, someone shouting at you, someone cutting you up in the motorway, whatever it happens to be, you need to burn that stress off. But all the stresses I've just rattled off all add up, and you've got no real way of dissipating any of those stressors. Like naturally, you would be in a stressful situation, like someone's coming to eat something, an animal's coming to eat you. So what do? You run for the hills, or you try and kill it, ultimately with the plan to eat it. So you have a very stressful situation, you fight the stress, you burn off the stress, and then you relax and recover afterwards. And that doesn't happen if throughout the day you've got all these different stressors coming at you, and you don't exercise. Or when you do, your body's not functioning properly, so you exercise and you try to push yourself really hard under a lot of stress. You've not taken in full breathing. You could argue, looking at that whole story, that you've got exercise coming into a stress system, and that exercise is creating more stress. So you need to look at all these things together. Most of them can be assessed, and we know where you are as an individual, and then you can plot a sort of support and repair plan that's based on how you function, looking at stress, heavy metals, environmental toxins, different lifestyle choices, poor food choices, faulty breathing, the lack of daily exercise. All that comes together to add up to a stressed individual who's not functioning properly. Therefore, you're not healthy, and a healthy person's not going to lose fat. Another factor, you're looking at fat loss, is not always looked at. What you might call lifestyle choices. Things like you have a really busy day, so you go to work at 6 o'clock in the morning, and you work till 5, 6 o'clock at night, and because you're on a mission to lose fat, what do? You go to the gym to beast yourself after a stressful day at work. And yes, you should be finding ways to de-stress and to burn off that stress, to sort of get it out from your system. But if you haven't drank water throughout the day and you've been living on coffee, you come to the gym dehydrated. If you've had a stressful day of meetings, then you're up to 90, so your brain's really, you're kind of strung out, so you're really, probably by the time you get to the gym, still thinking about all that stress of those meetings. And you haven't actually done anything productive about what caused that stress, workplace related stress, let's say it is, when you come to the gym. So you're probably not going to be present in the gym, focusing on your exercise, doing good quality movements, working out whether or not last time you did 8, this time can I do 9, how low did my knee go, am I aware of my breathing, what's my posture like, all the sort of awareness of skillful movement in the gym that makes a productive workout that allows you to progress from A to B to C, to get fitter and stronger. So maybe going to the gym at that time of day wasn't actually the wise move. Maybe what you should have done is gone home, got food, sat down, watched something you enjoy, spend time with your family if you have kids, or send some email that's doing your head in, that's tuning you up and stopping you doing your productive workout. Get that done, sent off. If you were really going for it in stress management, you would be doing maybe some form of abdominal breathing. Some people want to call that meditation. Even just 5 minutes of focusing on how to breathe properly could help you de-stress in a more productive way. Let's say other factors that affect your ability to lose fat that are lifestyle related. As you work late into the night and you're not going to your bed early enough, which actually maybe causes you poor sleep. So you wake up in the morning showered, so you go to the gym because that's when you have to do it. So you go to the gym when you're showered. Is that going to be an effective workout? Is it yet again another form of stress? So that's a way of slowing the body down, and that's a poor lifestyle choice. So you have to find the right time to train. That's key. You also have to fuel yourself to train. So what happens if you get up in the morning and you rush out the door straight to the gym and you haven't eaten and you train for half an hour, whatever, then you shower, get to work. What have you had to eat? A banana, have a cup of coffee, maybe nothing. 10 o'clock before you eat, is it lunchtime before you eat? That sometimes you can do the exercise and get caught into depriving yourself of food to fuel your recovery because of your commitment to lose weight. So cutting calories, add an exercise, but what happens if maybe you try for a number of weeks eating the right food, some healthy food in the morning, and then going to work and finding the right time of day where you've got the energy to train?